I'm in my kitchen and I'm going to see if I can make a steak without smelling up the place. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda in the Panda Research Institute Test Kitchen. This is where I make all that delectable goodness. And today I'm going to try to make a steak. But one of the problems that I've had with making a steak, and you may have the same problem in your house, is that a lot of ways that you make a steak and you get all that crunchy goodness and that crust on the outside, well, it just kind of smells up the place. And so I am going to see if I can solve that with this and this. So hopefully I don't fill the place up with smoke or grease or any of the stuff that kind of lingers. Now, this is a sous vide machine by Vevor Sous Vide. That's not what it means at all. But this is actually a really affordable sous vide cooker. It's got a display on the top there. You can see the big bottom here. It's kind of like a giant hill. And you can use pretty much anything. I don't have the rest of the accessories here. So I don't have like a sous vide box or anything. So I just use a big pot and pan. And I thought I would use that to cook this filet mignon. Pick this up from the grocery store. It's got bacon wrapped around it. So I'm kind of curious to see what it'll do with that. And then I'm going to finish it in the oven here on the broil setting. So hopefully between the sous vide and the oven, I will create nothing to clean up, essentially, no smoke, and hopefully have a delicious steak. But steaks like this can also be pretty finicky, and I could easily ruin this, and pretty expensive piece of meat here, make a mess, smell up the place, and have to move out of here. So hopefully that won't happen, but let's try it out. All right, so I have my bacon wrapped filet here. I just have some of this steak grilling seasoning here. It's just some generic thing. I'm just going to go ahead and put some on top of here. I don't know that you would need this per se, but I always like it. A little salt and pepper too. That never hurt anyone, but I'm just going to give it a little bit of that. Now, the one thing that I do have here for sous vide is the sous vide bags. You can buy a bunch of these for next to nothing. You can actually use Ziploc bags. That was what my buddy Warren told me, and that's actually how I did it at the beginning. But, to save those precious Ziploc bags for storing all of those leftovers, I just picked these up, and I don't use these for anything else, but I don't even have the little clips or the vacuum sealer. I just put them into the water and push out the air with the water. And so here I have a bowl of water, and I'm just going to go ahead and push this in. And then I just going to use the weight of the water to push the rest of the air out. You want to get rid of that air as much as possible. You probably suck it out like a siphon if you really wanted to. But there, I think I got most of it out. Just kind of want this steak to be hugged by the bag, put it in contact with that water. And then all I do here is I usually just flip over the top like this. And then I just use a big binder clip to clip it to the side. So nothing fancy. Hopefully this will work. I'll just kind of hold it in place just like that. And you want the thing fully submerged. All right, now let's try the sous vide. All right, so here is the Vevor, and you can see we have like a heating element in those little openings right there. So that has to be fully submerged. Even though this pot isn't that big, I think that will fit on there. Now I can just clip this onto the side. I love the fact that this has this clip installed here. Sometimes they just have like a sleeve with a little like pen clip. And this one actually has a spring, so it's nice and tight, and it's built into the housing here. So you don't have to worry about that falling off. Like I said, a lot of times they're just a separate piece that gets lost in the drawer. So now that I've got the sous vide fully submerged there, let's go ahead and plug it in and see if we can program this guy to cook this steak. Hopefully better than I would. All right, got it plugged in here. The little red start button is illuminated. It's a pretty good sign. I am just going to go ahead and hit this little thermometer button here. I'm going to raise this to 54 degrees. It's in Celsius, FYI. If you don't know what temperature you're looking for in Celsius, just ask your Alexa. And 54.5 degrees. And then I'm going to hit it again. And this is going to go to cooking time, I think. That is 3 hours. I don't want to quite cook it that long. Whoops. And I don't want to go 0. But I'm going to go about an hour 30. You know what? I'm going to go an hour 15. I want to eat a little sooner than later. And then I'm going to hit the play button here. And it's going to raise the temperature of that water up to 54.5 degrees. And I think at that point, it's going to start the timer. So now I just have to wait and see what the results are from this. And then we will give it a little finish in the oven. And you can see that the heating element is heating up the water, and then It is moving it around. We've got bubbles and movement in the water. So seems to be working. It's nice and quiet too. And man, it's almost like a cheat code for food. All right. We'll be back in an hour and 15. All right. We are rapidly approaching the end here. Final minute. Let's see what happens when we reach that time. And looks like it shuts off, stops churning the water. And there we have our steak that now has been sous vide'd. So let's see if we can finish this guy up and make it even a little more tasty. And again, keep my kitchen clean. All right. I want to share with you the sous vide product here before we go to the next phase. Just dump you out of the bag here live, and looks kind of gray and cooked. And again, to me, I think this is safe to eat, but it's not really delectable looking, right? Because it's just kind of cooked the same all the way through, but it's edible. And what I really like, and I think a lot of people appreciate, is a little bit of that crust or bark on the outside. So I'm going to do that by trying to broil it now. Now you can actually broil a steak completely, and I think you want to do it like 7 to 9 minutes on each side, but I'm only going to do it for like a minute, 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes. It depends on what it looks like on each side, just to kind of see if we can cook out the seasonings and the bacon a little bit more than the inside. All right, let me get the oven to broil. All right, got my broiler on high. I'm just going to put it up right next to these hot coils right there. And like I said, just a minute to 2 minutes aside, depending on what it looks like to me. And then we will try it out. All right, flipped it and took it out of the oven. Did the second side quite a bit shorter than I did the first side because, man, a high broil actually is hot or something because it cooks fast. And so what I did is a little lopsided, a little heavier on one side than the other, but I mean, smells like a steak, looks good. Definitely splattered a little bit. I actually probably should have used more aluminum foil here just to kind of keep the cleanup a little bit simpler here. But now let's cut into it and see if it's actually any good. All right, so here's the steak. It's quite hot, and I think it's quite a bit smaller than when we started. But now, let's see if it's any good. All right, so maybe I wouldn't wrap bacon around it, but, you know, a lean piece of meat could use the fat from something else, and there we go. I would say that probably because I did it medium rare or rare-ish from the sous vide and then put it under the broiler, it's more of a medium than a medium rare, and that's fine. I actually order a lot as a strategy, medium, because then if it's medium rare or medium well, I can still eat it. So I'm going to take a middle piece here, and this is what it looks like. A little pink, but definitely cooked in. Oh, man. All right. There's definitely bacon flavor there, but the steak, as I would cook it, is just a little more cooked than my preference. So now I know I could actually go the minimum on the sous vide if you're going to broil it, but that broiler is fast. I probably would use the broiler on low. And the only thing I had to clean up really was dump out the water from the sous vide. And in the broiler, the steak splattered a little bit, but luckily I had that aluminum foil underneath it, so I just needed to wipe that down. So in terms of making a great steak, tasty, especially with a little bit of that spice on the top. But easy way to make a steak without having to fire up the grill, without smoking up the inside of my house. Well, yeah. I don't get steak every day, but when I do, it's a good day here at the PRI. So if you want to make a great steak without messing up your kitchen, without spending a lot of time, without having to babysit it, you probably want to pick up the sous vide machine by Vevor Las Vegas, because it's going to make your cooking a lot easier. Use it on fish, use it on chicken, use it on a lot of other meats. I will put a link to it in the description below. Peter Von Panda, out.
We can discover more and explore so much deeper. We can live better than ever, thanks to Peter Von Panda.